So today we will go to Shlok 42. Let me read it. Shamo damastapa shaucham kshantir arjavameva cha jnanam vijnanamastikhyam brahma karma swabhavajam. Subjugation of the mind and senses, enduring hardships for the discharge of one's sacred obligations, external and internal purity, forgiving the faults of others, straightness of mind, senses, and behavior, belief in the Vedas and other scriptures, God and life after death, etc., study and teaching of the Vedas and other scriptures, and realization of the truth relating to God, all these constitute the natural duties of a Brahmana. So let's recall, there are 4 orders of society, which is called the Varna Ashram, consisting of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Now, as I said last time also, these Varnas or these different categories of people are not based on heredity. You are not born a Brahmana because of a hereditary gene or something like that. And it is also got nothing to do with an economic status. Then what is the basis of this caste classification? Your swabhav, your nature, your innate nature, or your disposition, or you can say swabhav, okay? Your sanskars, the sanskars that you have brought into this life from your past life. Based on that, sanskars means mental impressions. So based on these mental impressions, you would get classified as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. How? These sanskars also are of 3 types, which we have studied before. What are they? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Your sanskars could be predominantly sattvic, or predominantly rajasic, or predominantly tamasic. And based on that, you will be inclined to think, act, speak, whatever you do will be based on these dispositions, tamasic, rajasic, or sattvic sanskars. Therefore, since this is part of your antakaran, this is part of what you are born with, the Vedas have attributed or given certain duties to each of these varnas based on your swabhav, based on your nature. Okay? And if a person were to do his functions in alignment with the varna, then his work will be excellent. His work will be successful. And more than anything else, it will be effortless because he will be expressing his nature. Okay? And another very, very important, benefit of performing actions according to your varna is it helps you to transcend the gunas. God forbid, if there are tamasic guna and you work accordingly to the duties for a tamasic varna, then there is a chance of you moving into rajas and then into sattva and then gunatit. So in the next 3 shlokas, 42, 43 and 44, I think, the duties of these 4 varnas are given. But today we will do only one shloka, 42, because it is quite detailed and it gives us the duties of a Brahmana. And there are 9 duties attributed to a Brahmana. Now let us remember what is Brahmana. Brahmanas are not called Brahmanas because they have inherited wisdom. They have not inherited wisdom from their ancestors. they have cultivated certain qualities. They have cultivated certain values through their own effort, through their sincere effort, when in their past life. In their past life, they earned these, and therefore they were born as Brahmanas. Okay? So it is not that you have got sattva because your parents are sattvic, not because of that. It is your own sadhana of a previous life which has brought you into this life with predominantly sattvic gunas. Now, as we will see as we go along this shloka, 9 duties have been attributed to the Brahmana. But none of these 9 duties will tell you what profession they will do, what kind of service they will do, whether they will do business or whether they will do, as a service in some company, what kind of area, which field of activity will they be engaged in. No, they don't tell any of that for the Brahmana Varna. What do they tell? They tell the quality of his nature. They tell you the values uh, which a Brahmana cherishes and expresses in his work. Okay? So the duty of a Brahmana will be that he should always think, he should always speak, and he should always act in alignment with these 9 values. That is the duty of a Brahmana. So let's see these 9 values. You are very familiar with all of them because we have been studying them for a long time. So the first one is Shama. Shama, you remember from Sadhana Chatushtay, Shat Sampati, Shama, Dhamma, Uparama. So Shama. Shama means quietness of the mind, steadiness, restraint of the mind. But here it's not a restraint because a Brahmana is predominantly sattvic. So he no longer needs to restrain the mind. His mind is quiet by nature, swabhav. By swabhav, his mind is shant. And when we say mind, we're talking about the entire antakaran, man, buddhi, chit, ahankar. All these are shant. His mind has been trained and is totally under his control. So internally, the Brahmana who is of sattvic guna is shant. Not enough to be shant inside also. Then the second quality comes up, Dhamma. Shama, Dhamma. Here, it is about quietness of the sense organs. You know, we have got 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action, and they are basically rajasic because they involve movement. They go out into the sansar. So, even with a quiet mind, these senses are continuously engaging in sansar. So a Brahmana has to always be cautious that even with a shant mind, and he can't always be with his sense organs shut, they will be open, he will be engaging in the world, he will be interacting with people. So he has to always be cautious that his sense organs do not get hijacked, you can say, cannot get hijacked into sansar. So internally also quiet, externally also quiet. If you remember when we had done that shloka on the tortoise, there was an example in Gita, example of tortoise, that when the tortoise is walking and he senses danger around, what does he do? He withdraws his limbs and his head under the shell till the danger has passed away. So a Brahmana will also do that. He does not want to engage with any trouble, does not want to engage with any disturbance. He is quiet and he wants to remain quiet. So 2 qualities, Shama, Dhamma. The third quality that Bhagavan mentions here is Tapa, Tapasya. Tapasya means what? Austerity. Now I'll read one quote from Srimad Bhagavat, a very beautiful one. I'll read it out. Brahmanasya hi dehoyam Shudrakamaya neshyate Kritraya tapase cheha Pretyananta sukhaya cha. Very beautifully, it explains tapasya. It says, the body of a Brahmana is not for indulging in petty pleasures. Its purpose is to perform intense austerity here, means in this life, to experience the infinite happiness hereafter. Tapasya. Tapasya means sublimation of the body, sublimation of the mind, sublimation of speech also. Focusing the mind on a higher ideal. Higher ideal means your highest spiritual goal. And having a conscious, you can say a conscious physical self-denial for the pleasures of the body, for the sukh of the mind, for the ease of the speech, in order to attain your highest spiritual goal. Tapasya is not like, for example, denying yourself some good food or some cake or something because you want to lose weight. It is not, tapasya is not doing exercise and doing some hard work to look good. It is self-denial for the highest spiritual goal. Okay, so there is a difference. So now, what was this thought process between recommending tapasya? What is the purpose? You see, the rishis thought very carefully, and they've realized that a lot of our energy is used up in pursuing or trying to fulfill our desires. You will obviously understand that, because to fulfill any desire, a lot of purusharth is required, a lot of effort is required, and that also takes up a lot of our energy. So tapasya is to economize the expenditure of this energy. Don't waste your energy, they said. Human energy is precious. So we do not want to waste it on the pursuit of pleasures or desires that are not taking us to our highest goal. So conserve that energy to reach your highest goal. And that is the meaning of tapasya. So when the sadhak does tapasya, all he's doing is conserving his energy and redirecting that spiritual energy for his highest goal. And that is a duty of a Brahmana. Got it? So three things: Shama, Dhamma, Tapasya. And Tapasya, when you do Shama and Dhamma, that itself is a Tapasya. Okay? Because it's not easy to be controlling the mind and to be controlling the senses. It requires effort. But a Brahmana has done that sadhana. He has reached a place where he's predominantly sattvic, and now Shama, Dhamma, and Tapasya come spontaneously and naturally to him. Swabhav. The key word here is Swabhav. It is in the Swabhav of the Brahmana to do Shama, Dhamma, and Tapasya. It is no longer an effort. Fourth one, Shaucham. Cleanliness, you can say. Purity, you can say. Internal as well as external. Let's go with external first. So, if you see the recommendations and the prescriptions almost of the duties of a Brahmana, you will see that in detail, Shaucham is described. What a Brahmana has to do. How many times does he have to bathe? When should he bathe? How should he bathe? Where should he bathe? What should he do before bathing? What should he do after bathing? What are the rituals that are connected with the bathing? And this is his duty. This is the duty of the Brahmana. These rituals that are recommended in the Vedas keep him busy all day. There is something to keep him busy from the moment he wakes up to the moment he goes to sleep. It is prescribed how the day should go, how he should maintain his cleanliness, how he should maintain his purity. And therefore, the Brahmana has very little time to engage in sansar. He has very little time to do his vyavaharik functions, activities. So a question comes up that if one has to follow so many prescriptions of bathing and what to do before bathing and how to bathe and what to do after bathing and all these things, how is a person going to be able to go to work? How will he go to office? How will he manage to go to school, college? I mean, like, how will he earn a living? The answer is in the question itself. What is it? The rituals or these duties are for a Brahmana. Okay. The Brahmana is highly sattvic. He has reached a state of purity. He is no longer engaged in earning a living. He is not interested in earning a living. He is not supposed to be earning a living. He has dedicated his life to the highest goal for his own life, and he's not doing it selfishly. He's doing it for his own life as well as taking others along to their highest spiritual goal. And therefore, he is not supposed to be earning a living. Then how is he supposed to survive? The other three varnas are supposed to support him so that he can dedicate his life for what? For their kalyan, for making sure that they also reach their highest goal. So this person, Brahmana, highly sattvic, predominantly sattvic, has been through all the Shuddhikaran sadhanas, internally also, mal, vikshep, rag, dvesh, kam, krodh, lobh, moh, mad, matsarya, everything has been cleansed. And it is his duty now to maintain that shaucham. He has to maintain that purity. He has to maintain that cleanliness, emotionally, intellectually, as well as physically. So this is his duty. Okay, let's go to the fifth value, shanti. Shantir, forgiveness, also means forbearance, forgiveness. Now, a Brahmana who is highly sat, predominantly sat, got sattva gun in him, he will not harbor hatred for anyone, no matter whatever they may have done. No more hatred, no rag, no dvesh, no attachment also, no hatred also, no aversion. Why is that? It comes only out of samaj. Samaj means what? Becoming fully aware that a person's behavior is totally based on his gunas. Okay? And these gunas can change anytime. They are so volatile. They can change anytime. And when his guna changes, his behavior also can change, will change, can change, nahi, will change. So whatever a person does at any particular given time is prompted by his gunas. So if something is being done which is not very good, then you know that at this moment, the person's rajas is probably peaking or the tamas is predominant. And this action has happened because of the gunas. So what is there? This person is a victim of the guna. So where has he done anything wrong? He is basically a victim himself. So what is there to forgive? So understanding that behavior is based on gunas, there is no hatred for the person. The person is not a bad person. The gunas is making the action slightly disturbing or very disturbing also. Secondly, again, samaj comes in. Meaning what? The person who has reached this very high sattvic state knows that whatever he is experiencing, whatever bad somebody has done to him, whatever he is experiencing at any moment is what? It's an expression of his own karma. His own prarabdha is happening at that time. So that person is just the mailman, courier, delivering the karma. Why should he have hatred for that person? He is just doing his job, right? So if he has to forgive anyone, who will he forgive? Maybe only person he can forgive is who he was in his past life. That is the only past lives. God knows how many lives before he did something for which he is getting this karma in this life. So Bhagwan says this kind of sattvic person, Brahmana, who is so highly evolved, he is not interested in forgiving. He knows this is all some tamasha happening, the game of gunas and karmas, and he gladly accepts whatever is happening. And there comes the second meaning of Shantir also, forbearance. Superb endurance, extreme endurance. Whatever is happening, that person, whatever difficulties may be coming their way, insult, trauma, this thing, that thing, he'll endure without complaining, without dvesh, without feeling that this person has wronged me or that person has wronged me. It is what it is. That's it. Shantir. So, Shama, Dhamma, then Tapasya, and now Shantir and Shaucha. Sixth one, Arjavam, straightforwardness, simplicity, easy to understand, honest, open. The Brahmana who is highly sattvic will have no deceit in him. There is no need for him to fear anything because he doesn't need to be deceptive. He doesn't need to be something and show something else. If he has chosen a way of life, that's it. He does not have to put up appearances to please other people. He is not embarrassed with his choices. He is not shy of what he believes in. He believes it, he lives it, he speaks it, he acts it. That's it. That's who he is. What you see is what you get. Doesn't have to portray himself differently. Like some people come to satsang, they enjoy it, they love it. But when they'll go out, they won't want to show that aspect of themselves. There, they will want to show that they are, I don't know what they want to show, very social or whatever, modern, or I don't know what exactly they're trying to show. But they will not try to show their satsang side outside, right? Because they're embarrassed. What will they think of me? Because I don't know what will they think. Why should anyone think wrongly of a person going to satsang? Why would anyone think wrongly if someone has a very high spiritual goal? But that is where Kali Yuga is. That is the problem with Kali Yuga. So he doesn't portray himself anything different. You know, Arjavam is like a straight line. And before I used to say the opposite of Arjavam is Jalebi, you know, round and round. Someone will go in circles round and round and round to hide what he believes in. He does not give explanations straightforward. He will go round and round and round trying to hide and be deceptive. So, a person who is straightforward, his energy level will be very elevated. You'll be surprised how much this person can do. This person, none of his energy is getting wasted. Wasted in what? In hiding his choices, in hiding his beliefs, in hiding his sadhana, doing sadhana. None of that. This is what I do, khulla, open, and this is how I live. And that is the duty of the Brahmana, Arjavam. Now, Bhagwan says there are three more. Jnanam. Jnanam means knowledge. What is the duty of the Brahmana? The duty of the Brahmana is to have knowledge of the Shastras, to know what is the highest goal, to know that my purpose of living is moksha. My purpose of living of this life is to reach my highest goal, which is to be fully sattvic. After that, automatically, spontaneously, you will be transcending the gunas. So, jnanam, be aware of the purpose of your life. A Brahmana's duty is to practice the teachings of the Shastras. The Brahmana's duty is to read Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan every day. He is supposed to do that. That is his duty. That is the meaning of Jnanam. If there are obstacles, he must know what the obstacles are, and he must know also how to overcome the obstacles. Jnanam. This is the seventh duty of a Brahmana. And imagine now this Brahmana who's satatam, doing abhyas, shravan, manan, nididhyasan. What will happen after some time? As a result of all this practice of jnanam, the teachings will become a part and parcel of his life. A default setting will happen. That is the meaning of being fully sattvic. And now not only intellectually does he know all this gyan is there in his head, but it is there in his every cell of his body. He has absorbed the knowledge. So he has absorbed gyan, and now this gyan, this knowledge has become his own experience. And when knowledge is added along with experience, it becomes wisdom. Wisdom is experienced knowledge. That is why the word is Vigyan. What is the eighth duty of a Brahmana? Vigyan. Gyan, knowledge. Vigyan, Vishesh knowledge. Vishesh knowledge, not science, okay? That is a very colloquial use of the word Vigyan. Here, Vigyan doesn't mean science. Here, Vigyan means Vishesh Gyan, wisdom. Which wisdom? The wisdom that will result in self-realization. Okay? So such a person doesn't have to stop every time and do some deliberate thinking. What should I do? How should I do? What should I speak? Spontaneously, the correct thought comes. Spontaneously, the correct word comes. Spontaneously, the correct action also occurs to him. And this is guided by wisdom. If you'll notice, in the olden days, the kings always had one Brahmana in the court with him. And that Brahmana was always sought for advice that in this case, what should I do? In this case, what should I do? In this difficulty, what is the correct way? And the Brahmana, being highly sattvic, with Gyan and Vigyan, would advise the king, and the king would then rule the land with the wisdom of the Brahmana. So if in very lay terms, if you want to understand the difference between Gyan and Vigyan, Gyan may be that you know the recipe of making a chocolate cake. You know, so many ingredients are there, so many grams of sugar and wheat, and then you put it in the oven and you put this much temperature. You know it. You have the knowledge. But Vigyan will happen only when you actually bake the cake and it bakes perfectly. Then you know that Gyan has changed into Vigyan. And now we have to apply that to our spiritual journey. You know what is Shama, Dhamma, this thing, that thing, you know everything. You know the four Purushas, you know what are the karmas, you know what is the goal, you know what is the obstacle. You have Gyan. Now you have to change that Gyan into Vigyan. And that is the duty of the Brahmana. And finally, the ninth duty, Astikyam. Astikyam means faith, conviction, Nishtha. A Brahmana has unflinching faith in the Vedas, unflinching faith in the Shastras, unflinching faith in the teachings, whatever the Guru is instructing, unflinching faith, okay? And this is obvious because Sattva is characterized by stillness. When there's Rajas, there will be a tendency to maybe go from one belief to another belief, from one path to another path, from one guru to another guru also. That is Rajas playing. And Tamas, you believe something and then you give it up. You believe something and then you give it up. You believe something and then you give it up. That is Tamas. Tamas makes you give up. But Sattva makes you stay steady. So a Brahmana is predominantly Sattvic. Therefore, Astikyam, full faith in the teachings of the Vedas. So, 9 duties, okay? Now, all these 9 duties come to the Brahmana out of his Swabhav, nature. And these are not hereditary. These are not because he inherited from his parents or from his ancestors. These are what he is. That is what he is. And his duty is to maintain it. Okay? So cannot any other Varna have Shama? Cannot any other Varna have Dhamma? Surely other Varnas can do Tapasya, Shaucham, Arjavam. All these can be applied to other Varnas also. A Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra also, they also can have all these qualities, isn't it? The difference is only that you are a Brahmana if naturally you express these 9 qualities. It is your Swabhav. Whereas the other Varnas can also express them occasionally, but they are not established in the 9 values. Okay, so that is, and of course, for each and every person, no matter what is your Varna, these 9 qualities or values serve as a guideline for us. That this is where I need to move towards. This is like a benchmark. If I have these 9 qualities in a spontaneous way, I do my sadhana and they become my default setting, then I know that I have reached a high pinnacle in my sadhana. So what we need to do is take these 9 qualities as a guide and see, and evaluate where is our progress in terms of these 9 qualities. Now I'm going to quickly recap the 9 qualities. Shama. So what you have to see for yourself is how quiet is my mind. That is something for you to do as a sadhana for the next week. Dhamma. How much control do I have over my senses? This is very practical sadhanas I'm giving you. Okay? How quiet is my mind? How much control do I have over my senses? Third one, tapasya. Am I sublimating my body, my speech, my mind to my highest goal? Something to think about. Shaucham, purity. What is the degree of my external cleanliness and my internal purity? Something that is difficult sometimes to evaluate because you're evaluating your own self, but you have to be objective and check it out. Kshantir. How easily can I forgive someone? Don't think about forget. You cannot forget. But how easily can I forgive? Do I always hold a grudge? How long do I hold a grudge? How long do I remember that this person has hurt me, harmed me, or whatever? What is my level of endurance? Shanti. Arjavam. How straightforward am I? Am I trying to hide some parts of my character or my belief system or my behavior? Am I straightforward or like a jalebi? Think about it. Jnanam. Do I understand the teachings and do I live them? Vijnanam. Have I absorbed these teachings in every cell of my body? And astikyam. How much faith do I have? How much faith do I have in the teachings? Or am I having faith in the things which are comfortable for me to follow and then just ignoring or omitting the things which are not comfortable for me to follow? This doesn't work. Either I follow or I don't follow. Either I have faith in everything or then I don't have faith. Okay? So, a lot of work to be done for the next week, but do it if you want. And then you'll know where you stand in your journey. Okay? Oh. 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 Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Chidarpanam. Jai Gurudev.